welcome back to my channel. Today I have with me my top 5 books of 2022. I initially thought of doing top 10 books of 2022, but I wanted to narrow it down and tell you my top 5 favorite books. So let's get right into it. Starting off with House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. So this is the second book of the Crescent City series, and if you haven't read the Crescent City series, you should, because this book was wow. So the thing is that I started off the first book, and when I finished it, I wasn't really sure if I would read the second book, which was to be released last year. And I was contemplating it, and then I thought, you know what, I'll just give it a go and see if I'm going to end up liking it. And oh my god, I'm so glad I did. I'm definitely going to read the next book in this installment because this was just wow. So if you've not read Sarah J. Maas before, so she is the author of the Court of Thorns and Roses series. She's the author of the Throne of Glass series. So she has a lot of young adult series down her bibliography, but this is her first adult fantasy series, and it's amazing. It's totally high fantasy. It's not related to the real world. It's set up somewhere in a completely different made-up world, and we have amazing characters, amazing story. The plot line is brilliant, and at the end of the book we do have an amazing cliffhanger, which I'm not gonna divulge right now, but if you are a fan of all her other series, then you're gonna definitely love this. So yeah, that is book number 5 for me for 2022. Book number 4 is going to be The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Now this is an amazing book if you're into like historical fiction that gels with the current world. So there are 2 point of views here, one that takes place in the 1800s and one that takes place in the current future in London, England. And so the storyline is about a girl who has these visions about a past wherein a woman is being searched by the cops for being a potioneer, or she makes potions that kills men. So this is an amazing book. This is, I think, the debut book of the author, and her next book, I think the London Seance Society, is getting released this year. And because I think I'm already a fan of her, I'm going to try this second book of hers this year, and I will let you know how it is. But if you're into the kind of vibe that I just mentioned, like London in the 1800s, potions, killing, thrillers, and digging up the past, then you should definitely try this book. My book number 3 is going to be Scythe by Neil Shusterman. So Scythe is an amazing dystopian series. This is the first book in the series. I haven't read the other 2, but the first book itself was brilliant. So I read this book on like my Kindle, and I loved it so much that I really wanted to get a collector's edition, and so I just purchased this like I think last month. You have seen it in my haul video because I really was waiting for an amazing edition for me to buy. I just didn't want to buy the usual Scythe edition, and oh my god, this is amazing. So this is about 2 people who live in this dystopian world. Their paths cross, but basically we have these reapers who come and harvest souls of people who they know are going to die, or who have incurred some kind of illness which is going to put them to death, or that virus kind of spreads, like it's contagious. So they mark the houses, and then they come and collect those souls of those people whose houses are marked. And then we have our main protagonist, lead, who's a female, who ends up trying to get into this reaper world, and she enlists along with another guy who is our male protagonist, and oh my god, the story just picks up from there. It's just amazing. You should really try this book if you're into dystopian YA novels. My book number 2 and book number 1 are a little bit of a conflict because I think both are going to be my number 1 choice. I don't know what to put as number 2 and what to put as number 1. I'm just going to talk about both of them. So this is Chain of Iron, the second book in the Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare. Her 3rd book is out, I think, a few days back. I've already pre-ordered it. It's on its way, and I'm going to start reading it the moment it comes. This is an amazing another insight into the Shadowhunter world. If you have not read anything in the Shadowhunter series, please do right away. There's the Infernal Devices, which is my number one favorite, and then there's the Dark Artifices, which I also love, and The Last Hours is up there for me. I don't, however, love the Mortal Instruments, unfortunately, because I just can't stare clearly. She is just not my favorite female lead, so I probably would not recommend that, but then the rest of the series are just brilliant. This has beautiful insights from Will and Tessa and everybody who you love from the other worlds if you've already read the Infernal Devices or the Dark Artifices. So this is going to give you a beautiful insight into all of them. And again, it's full of thrillers, and there's a demon loose, and we've got love and romance, and we've got a lot of characters that we'll end up loving in this book. And the last book that I'm going to talk about non-stop is Pages & Co. Now, I've been raving about this book in the last few videos of mine because I just read it and immediately this became my top favorite of 2022. I mean, you guys, this book is just brilliant. I kind of just stumbled upon it and I wanted to read it during Christmas, and I think that was the best decision I made because the book transports you into this whole different world that you probably didn't even know existed. So it follows a little girl, Tilly, who is this girl right here, and she is a book wanderer, and she finds out later in the book. So basically what that means is she is able to go into the world of the characters that she loves. So we have Anne of Green Gables, we have Alice from Alice in Wonderland, who visit her from those worlds into her realistic world and takes her with them to their worlds. So this whole premise takes place during Christmas in December. So there's always a cozy vibe, there's always a Christmas tree, it takes place in a bookshop most of the time. So there's always a fireplace and a beautiful snoozing corner where you can actually sit and read your books. The vibe, the atmospheric world building is just out of the world. So if there's one middle grade book that I would want to recommend to anybody out there, it's this one. I think this is one of the best middle grade books I've read. And this is the first book in the series. There are a bunch of books in the series. And from what I've heard, all of these books actually take place during the same time of the year. So I'm going to buy one of these books every year during the December time frame and read it because it's just that brilliant and it's a great collection to have. So there you go. Those are my top 5 favorite books of 2022. Some honorable mentions include the Shatter Me series. I've read the first 3 books of the Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi, and oh my god, that dystopian world is totally next level. I just loved it. So if you are into dystopian, that is one of my recommendations for you. And this one, which is Scythe, is my other recommendation for you. So there you go. Those were my top favorite books of 2022. If you love this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you in another video. Bye.